Hello, welcome to Sky Sweaty Record Review, episode 99. It's the only first listen new music review show hosted by a French professor immediately after getting out of the YMCA. So, it's episode 99, and episode 100, as I said in the last episode, I'm going to be reviewing a classique. An album that is by an artist who you might know, but I think is really underrated, highly underrated. And so it makes sense that for my 99th episode, I'm reviewing the Mekons. Now, if you're sitting there and you're saying, what are the Mekons? Well, first of all, they're a band that is auto-corrected in your phone to Melons, which is funny. And second of all, they are the best band that you haven't heard of. If you're young, you're the best band that even your cool parents didn't hear of. They have been around since like the 1970s, making awesome music. Like great music, amazing music. But the thing is, they go from sort of genre to genre. They started off as kind of punk, and then they became sort of like rock, and they mess around with folk, and they have an accordion. And for whatever reason, they are just never a big band. They are never successful. There are very few bands on planet Earth that are better than them. Yet, you can see them in concert just about any time. Now, before I really go into their new album, Deserted, or Deserter, Deserted? I think it's Deserted. Yes, Deserted. I should tell you, I am not a Mekons super fan, but I am friends with one. Now, I talk a lot about friendships and music. That's partly because I feel lucky that I've grown up my whole life and music has been everywhere. My family, my parents, my friends, and a lot of my friendships are mediated through music. And my best friend in the whole world growing up was a guy named Brad. And the thing about Brad was that every time he would get into something, I would get into it. He would get into something, I'd get into it, I'd get into something, he'd get into it. So, I started collecting Grateful Dead tapes. It's true. And so he started doing that. He got really into watching hockey. So I got really into watching hockey. Like, everything that we would do, the other would get so into that other friends would be kind of like, all right, that's like a Brad and Sky thing. We'll just leave that there. And that especially applied to music. Like the Wu-Tang Clan, we would just drive around listening to Wu-Tang, just two white guys in the suburbs of Boston saying every word, well, except for the N-word, obviously. Like, shame on her who tried to run game on her. Anyways, but like that's what we do. And the weird thing is, with your best friend when you're growing up, you eventually grow apart. It's natural. You find a wife, you settle down, you start your own family, you differentiate from your best friends. And the Mekons are the way that Brad and I differentiated from each other. Do you have an experience like that? I don't know. You might. Don't put it in do put it in the comments if you want. But more like, this is my challenge to you. Like, has this ever happened to you with music where like, a friend of yours who you really connect with, who you really have similar taste in music, goes down a path that you don't follow? And that was the Mekons. So Brad got so into them, like got all the bootlegs, got all like the unreleased albums. See, they've been around since the 70s. They're from Wales and Leeds. They're super Britishy, I suppose. And like, they've never even been cool enough for the cool people to like them. Like, they've never been hip enough for the hipsters. Like, I don't know who likes them, except that all their music is really good. And so Brad got super into it, but he was off at college, and I was at a different college. And so he would just tell me to get all excited. Now, their album, Journey to the End of the Night, is an absolute goddamn masterpiece. Matter of fact, on my 300th episode, that's going to be the classique that I review, the unheralded album. So, spoiler alert for 199 episodes from, I don't do math, a long time from now, I'll be reviewing that album. The thing about the Mekons is they've been around forever, but they're sort of like the socialist dream. Like, they're a complete collective. You look at the songwriting credits, it just says Mekons. There's like 11 members. I don't know how many there are. But like, they're always together. And they usually end up singing together. And if you can see them in concert, they're touring. Matter of fact, Brad invited me to go see them with him in Brooklyn in July. If you're watching this, Brad, I'm going to try to go. I might be in France with my kids. Tough life. like you have to see them in concert, and just as an example of why they're an amazing band. So this is a poster from their punk rock tour, which is 2003, maybe 2004. And I saw them in concert 2 nights in a row. The first night was at a place in Berkeley, California called Plowin' Stars. And it was cool. Like, we got there an hour before the show started, and like the band was just sitting there drinking. They were just drinking a beer. And I had a beer with Rico. I remember the name of the accordion player. I had a beer. Well, I didn't drink back then. I watched Rico drink a beer, and my girlfriend, future ex-wife, had a beer with him. And then the next night, they played another show in the middle of San Francisco. And the amazing thing was they were completely different concerts. One was an acoustic set with entirely different songs. The next one was a rock and roll set. And they just did this, and like, I felt so close to the band. They've never been big enough to get lame. They've never been big enough to separate from their audience. They are pre-social media. So like that connection they have with their audience is special. It's earned. So like, you're welcome. Check out the Mekons. They're an amazing band. And this album is a good Mekons album. Now, I don't know. I only have like 4 of their 78 albums. I've seen them in concert 3 times. I like them, even though they're always Brad's thing. So here's my review of Deserted by the Mekons. It seems as though the whole album has a theme, and that theme is desert. Just the concept of the desert. The first track is called Lawrence of California, kind of tied in with that. There's a song called Mirage. There's a song about Ethiopia. There's a song called After the Rain. There's a song called In the Desert. The name of the album is Deserted, and I'm not quite sure where it's going. You know, this is a first listen show, so if I listen more, or if there are hopefully some Mekon super fans who want to tell me what this is all about, it seems that's all around these themes of just kind of deserted, dusty alienation. But mixed in with it is this crazy collectiveness. If you take the first song, Lawrence, California, as an example, I mean, immediately, it's everybody in the band singing. They have like at least 3 singers. This is how I classify their singers. There's British guy, there's more British guy, and then there's the woman. So like their accents are very thick. And so this one has all of them going. And even some must be other members of the band singing along as well. And it's never quite like annoying Irish music where you feel like it's just drinking and everyone's like da 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 da, but it's always on the line of that sort of Pogues-ish, you know, oh, we're from Great Britain and we drink and we drink. It's on the line of that, but it's more sophisticated than that. The next track is called Harar 1883, which is like about Ethiopia. It's kind of a post-colonial thing. It's nice. What's nice about them is they're very loose, but together. So like they're a band that's very clearly they know each other. They've played together for years and years and years and decades and decades. I mean, last time I thought about this band was 2004, okay? It's 2019 and they haven't dropped a beat. And they've been playing since like the 70s. So, you know, I pick right up and they're still playing and they have like a nice looseness to them. A lot of the songs end with kind of extended jams. Maybe my favorite song on the album is called The Galaxy Explodes. It has kind of a nice rhythm section, kind of like a reggae sort of beat. It's nice because there's like this weird kind of keyboard in the back. And then there's a song that I heard and I hated the first time I listened to it, I hated it. Like the first verse. It's called How Many Stars. And this is where it sounds almost like an old folk song. And when I say old, I mean like a song from like the 1830s. You know, it's something like, you know, how many times did he come to town? Those aren't the actual lyrics, but it has sort of like a Yankee Doodle Dandy ditty quality to it. But then the more I listened to it, the more I liked it. And it's like the super British guy is singing, and then he's joined by everybody at the end. They do that a lot on this album. They have one person stand out for most of the song, and then they all come in at the end. And I realized this is the track to hear in concert, How Many Stars. Because when I've seen them, when they're all singing together, and the audience kind of sings together, you have this great collective feeling. And there really isn't a lot of great collective music. Okay, there's Chumbawamba. That's it. They're the only collective band that I can think of. And Mekons are better than Chumbawamba. You can put that on the front of your album, Mekons. Sky Sweaty Record Review says you are better than Chumbawamba. There's another song, In the Desert, which is really nicely produced. The vocals are a little bit breathy, but they have like, let me see if I can even bring that up. You know what though? My kids are on the Wi-Fi, and my Wi-Fi is just terrible in this house, so I don't think I can even bring up the album. I'm going to see. I'm going to see if I can bring this up, because the instrumentation on the song is really quite nice. It has a thumb piano and a really nice low old-style keyboard. Let's hear if we can hear this song, In the Desert. Let's see if it plays on my computer or not. Hey. All right, they're both playing Minecraft, so it's just not going to happen. But don't worry, I've loaded up another song on YouTube that we'll play later. Matter of fact, let's get to that. So, it goes through their kind of different genres, but not intentionally. It doesn't seem like they're trying to show what they can do. The whole thing has their interesting feel of where they take what they want from different genres and play it. The track Mirage is nice, kind of loose guitar work, like kind of talking lyrics. Maybe the best lyrics on the album. It's sort of about like being in the desert again, in between a mirage and a sunset. The song Weimar Vending Machine almost has a late Bowie sound, but then they have like a weird la 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 part, and I hate it. I don't like that song. Sorry, Brad. That song's bad. You can tell me why it's not bad in the comments, but you hate the internet or something, so Brad's not going to watch this. But I don't know. That song is cool because it starts and it sounds like 2000s era Bowie. It has kind of that weird metallic paranoid sound to it, but then it just becomes la la la. It kind of tails off for the next song, Andromeda, which is kind of just feels like Mekons on autopilot. And then After the Rain, which is the track I'm going to play for you, which if you're interested in the Mekons and you've watched thus far, I'll give you a chance to hear what they actually sound like. So this is the female singer starting off, but it's nice because she's in harmony with Super British Guy. This is kind of an example of their ballad style. You hear the accordion, I think in the back, the violin very strong up front. And the kind of anthemic nature. Okay. And that resolution there, they're very good at creating kind of interesting resolution that is very satisfying, makes you want to keep listening and listening again, and especially seeing it in concert. Okay, I'll stop it there. And then it ends with like a little jam that just trails off. So there you go. Mekons released another album that I probably will never get that into. I probably won't. I just won't. I'm not going to get into it. But I like it, and I'm happy that they're making music. And when I see them in concert with Brad in July, hopefully, I'm going to get really psyched. And I'm going to say, I remember that song because I reviewed it. And he's going to be like, well, actually, they first played that in 2013 at the B-B-B-B Festival. But it's okay. It's also baseball season. I got into fantasy baseball, and then he got into stat sheet, He always just goes so hardcore. All right. Well, until then, call up your best friend from high school and talk to them about music, okay? That's your homework. See what happens if you do that. Don't forget, new music is the fountain of mental youth, and I brought the plant back, and there's the camera.